Alright, Adventures into Darkness. This cover ended up being a crock. There's those movie posters that are completely misleading, where they'll do the artwork. That's understandable for a movie poster, because it's the artwork, and then they actually have to do the filming. But when they do a misleading poster in a comic book from the 50s, they usually do the cover in the story. I'm totally into werewolf movies this weekend. I'm totally about to read this. I get into it. There's only like one good story. There was like 7 different short stories, as there always is. There's like 36 pages. We don't get the werewolf and the potion and the gypsy lady in the back like the cover suggests. That's exactly what I was looking forward to. Didn't get it at all. So I'll go over the ones. Only a few stories stood out to me. Let's start with The Three Monkeys. This is a story, it's like the opening scene to Hellraiser, where you see the guy in the antique shop, and I don't know where he is in Hellraiser. What is he, in India or somewhere in the Middle East? Well, in this one, he's in India. This guy has been researching this ancient three monkeys, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil, occult that's over 800 years old. And he obviously goes to India on this trip, and he's kind of a scumbag. And he tries to steal, then he eventually runs into some locals and bullies his way to finding the occult. And as you can see, the jewels in here, he ends up trying to steal them, and the monks, or these occult priests who are guardians of the monkeys and all the jewels and rubies in the room, catch him red-handed in the act when he's trying to flee out the only secret door. And then it's ironic because all the priests either are blind, deaf, or mute, like the monkeys, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. And one of them died that day, so they use him to take his place of the blind one. And you're like, oh, actually I think he's the one who doesn't speak at the end. That's like the best story in this. Then the other one, Flowers on Deborah's Grave. This one features an old hag hanging out by the cemetery. She loiters at cemeteries because she's an old hag, and it's a 50s horror comic. And so he's following this guy. She obsesses over this guy who has been leaving flowers for his dead wife or whatever, and she ends up giving him flowers, and the guy ends up setting the flowers on his dead wife's grave. And at the end, the twist is it's not even his wife, it's his daughter, and she got jealous for nothing, and she ended up in the insane asylum, and the guy died of frantic because she ended up degrading the wife's grave. Okay, the final one is the final story. It was about a 6-pager. Nothing Can Save Her. This guy runs over this woman, this hitchhiker, and he ends up having to give her a blood transfusion. He takes her to the local hospital, a doctor, and she's like, oh, he can't live without a blood transfusion, and he's like, feels guilty because he hit her, so he gives her the blood, and then she keeps on draining him of blood. And then she gets enough strength that she comes out of her coma. He falls in love with her, and he's just taking a stroll down the road, a break. He's feeling low because she drained him of all his plasma, and then she turns into the vampire. Like the doctor warned him, he thought she was a vampire, and she ends up sucking the rest of his blood out. Pretty dope and creative vampire story. I give the comic book a C- overall. The other stories were pretty lame. This was JBM from Mr. Creepshow 9, my Golden Age horror comic.